In this video, we're going to be adding a custom vehicle to Pavlov. Pavlov has vehicles built into the game. This is the truck that you can spawn. And basically how custom vehicles work is by duplicating this and changing the mesh and some other properties. So you can have all sorts of crazy things. In this example, I'm going to be making an ambulance starting from scratch. So first thing you want to do is download this project. Link will be in the description. This car-based project is what you want to build your map in. You can't really migrate stuff from this to your existing project. If you have a map that you want to add custom vehicles to, you're going to have to move it from wherever it is into this and like rename the UGC and in the definition change the unique ID so that it matches your previous project. So first things first, we have to figure out what we're doing. I have this ambulance I got from Cinti Studios, and so we're going to start with this. The current bones in the ambulance are not what Pavlov recognizes. So this is the first thing that we're going to have to fix. So I'm going to export this as a FBX, and as options I'm not going to have LOD or collision. Now we get to open up Blender. I hit A and delete to get rid of all that stuff, and we're going to import our FBX. All right, we have our ambulance. Now, if we go into pose mode, we can see here's the little blue dot for the wheel, so you can kind of figure out which one you're clicking on. And we need to match all of these bone names to the example given in the car base. So there's a Jeep in the example, and we need to get the wheel and the steering wheels and the truck root. Don't worry about the other stuff, it's just these. So I'm going to move this over to another monitor so it's easier for me to see both and rename, and just go through like FR is front right. Yep, that's front right. So in Pavlov, that's wheel underscore FR. Also going to need to rename this to truck root, and I don't think you need to rename this one. Yeah, but this is what you want. Now that you have your bones renamed, going to go to export, FBX, and we have to do some modifications. I'll call this view, and find where you're going to export that. Under object type, select, shift select other mesh and armature. Under armature, deselect add leaf bones. And that should be good. Now we're done with this. I'm going to create a folder for all of this stuff. Simply drag and drop. And we want to import normals. And all right. so our materials are messed up. So I'm going to go ahead and fix that. Add a 1 to the roughness value, and for texture, I'm going to add this. Oh, actually, they have something fancy for the blood effects on this mesh, so I'm just going to copy this and paste that. So we can have my blood effect on the ambulance. Kind of going for a Mad Max theme on this map. All right, so we have our ambulance. Oh, and our glass. We'll do something like that. And we'll do translucent. And 0.1. Now we have some pretty cheap glass. All right, so opening up, material looks right. Click on the bones. Are they named correctly? Wheel front right. Steering wheel. Now, depending on wherever you got your mesh that you're using, the axes may be wrong for the wheels and things like that. That can be a source of error. If it doesn't work and looks crazy, check your axes. Make sure that it matches what the Jeep has in the example. All right, next step. We're going to fix our physics asset. This is a hot mess. So, interior, don't need. Door, don't need. That, don't need. The root, do need. I'm going to change it to a box and regenerate that and fix up some of the angles. All right, then what is this? Glass, don't need that. Don't need that. Don't need that. Oh, do need that. Control Z. Do need the wheel. All right. This guy is going to be the floor, the truck root. We're going to add the collision for, cat, get out of here. We're going to add the collision for the ambulance, like all the sides and things. You don't want to just fill up the entire vehicle with the physics collision, because then if you're in the vehicle, you can't shoot out because it thinks you're inside of an object. Going to select all of the wheels, change that to sphere, and regenerate those. Also change that to kinematic. For the physics object, I'm not going to be too fancy about it. You can get pretty detailed if you want. I'm just going to add like basic engine, basic box wall for the back of the ambulance. This is where if you shoot the ambulance, like bullets will bounce off and take hits. So even though this is technically not lining up with the mesh, like if you were to shoot here, it would damage the vehicle. So I'm just going to drop it down so it somewhat lines up with the mesh so people take hits where they expect to take hits. One trick you can use for this is to copy and paste the values that you want, and it should be symmetrical, so you can just mirror things this way. Now this is by no means perfect, but I think good enough for demonstration purposes. So people should still be able to shoot through these windows, and the driver shouldn't be impeded by the volume, so they should be able to shoot out. So that's done. We need to make sure that the constraints are free. Again, this is just matching everything to the Willie's example. So making sure and going through all the constraints and setting everything how it is in the example will yield good results. Let's see, am I forgetting anything here? I don't think so. I don't think I'm forgetting anything here. This is good. All right. Now we are going to go in. Ooh. Yeah, we'll get to the horn in a moment. Going to go in and copy this. This is the actual blueprint. Oh, might help if there isn't something named the same. So this is going to be our ambulance blueprint. Right now, it's the Jeep, so going to change the mesh to that. That won't actually change anything. This is just to help place objects. For set mesh, we are going to change this to our ambulance. And we are also going to need a animation. So open up the animation blueprint, and again, this is something where we're just copying what is in the Willie's example. So we're going to set the class settings to vehicle instance. We're in animation graph, going to copy this, paste it here, create a variable called angle, change that to float, go to event graph, copy this, paste this, and we're going to change the cast to our vehicle. I called it ambu, and replace all the connections in that. Compile, save, close that, and now we have our animation. delete that. That's not connected to anything. Compile, and now we're going to go in the viewport and change where everybody sits and things like that. So new driver, this is the volume that people will grab to get in and out of the seat. So I'm going to put it in the doorway, something like this. You don't want it too big, otherwise people will grab it when they're in the vehicle. Passenger, something like that. Now, this is a atypical seating arrangement, so I think I'm going to have one person sit here and one person sit here inside the ambulance. So for passenger 2, I'm going to have him grab this door. And if you wanted a vehicle with less than 4 seats, say you just have like a 2-seater hot rod, the quick and dirty way is to just drag these entrance volumes down below your blueprint so nobody can grab them and get into a seat. Entrance volume for this seat, I'll put him in the back. So if you grab the rear door, you should be able to get into the vehicle. Now when you're sitting here, you're not going to be able to grab this door to get back out. So we're going to have to add an exit volume like here. We'll do that in a moment. So this is the actual seat. So this is where it'll teleport you. So when you grab this volume, it'll move you here. And you want this to be about the lower back of a player. So about that would be correct for this. Maybe something like that. Again, you can do the trick with the symmetry and just change the negative sign to make it symmetrical if you want. Seat 2, they're going to be pointing towards the red arrow, so I'll turn them around. Place them there, something like that. Seat 3, gonna want something like that. Close enough that they can grab this, hopefully. Horn box, this will go over the steering wheel. Horn audio. All right, front bumper. We want this about halfway in and out of the vehicle. So if you have it too far in, the kill volume won't kill the player and you'll stop when you hit somebody. You want it a bit out so there's time, so you don't stop the car, when you run somebody over. All right, have all of that. We are going to need that exit volume for this passenger. So the way we're going to do that is look at an example that was done earlier. How did I do that? All right, so we're going to Click on the mesh, add component. Pavlov interact box. I'm going to call this exit. I'm going to move this over here. So if you grab this volume, you should exit the vehicle. There was something else I had to do. Oh, that's right. On interact box and on interact box server. So for this, we're going to need this stuff. All right, so our hand proxy goes to the target here, and interact type hand proxy goes there, interact box goes there, and that should line up. So now, hopefully, when you grab this, you should exit the vehicle. Save that. All right, then we need a way to spawn it. You can't just drag in the vehicle. You need a way to spawn it. So there is a custom car spawner. I'm going to duplicate that and rename this. And change this to our ambulance. Now, if you want to configure something like the health or despawn time, you can do so here. So right now the health, I just bumped it up to 750. Might do 1,000. I forget how much the rocket launchers do, but you can tweak that depending on how powerful you want your vehicle to be. Almost done. This vehicle has some attachment things that can go with it from my asset pack. So I'm going to add this to our blueprint. In this, going to add component skeletal mesh. And what are they called? A more Mad Max vibe. One thing to note is if you add like a static mesh or something for this, you have to make sure that there's no collision. If there's any collision for this, it'll break everything. So you have to set no collision. And now when we spawn the vehicle, it should have this extra skeletal mesh around it. What else? Have our material, have our glass, have our bones, have our way to spawn it in. So we drag this into the level and let's see. Yeah, it does seem to spawn it in. So this should be good. I guess it is time to test it. You're going to want to make sure you unsubscribe and resubscribe so you have the latest version. And also, vehicles only work online. You will not be able to use these and offline. They'll bug out and you'll get stuck in them and it won't be a good time. All right, now we're in VR on a server. We can see that it spawned in. And there's the collision. Can't run into it. Oh, our glass is messed up. That's something we'll have to fix. I'm not sure what's up with that. But let's try it out. So controls are broken. We're also going to need to fix that. Can go forward and backwards, but can't turn. This seat works. This seat works. This seat works. All right, so going to fix the glass, going to fix the controls, and then we should be good. All right, so I'm back in the project. First thing, let's take a look at the glass. What is up with the glass? So we can just go in and delete the glass. All right, so we should have no more of that. Let's take a look. All right. Now to fix the control scheme, we're going to want to use the driver free invert. So to do that, we're going to go into class defaults of our ambulance blueprint and change this to driver free invert. Compile and save and upload. All right. Collision still works. All right, now we can turn with the joystick. I'm using index, right goes right, left goes left. Right trigger is accelerate. Left trigger is brake and reverse. These things take a while to stop, but reverse seems to work. Let's try the other vehicle seats. This one works. This one works. The glass isn't freaking out. You can shoot in there, not shoot here. I'm gonna try and flip it. Alright, this one might be a little bit hard to flip, but I have another vehicle that I can flip. Alright, and when you flip a vehicle, you can grab, and built into the game is logic to turn your vehicle back upright. So you don't have to worry about flipping too much, especially if you have something a little bit crazy, like a golf cart or something. When you get these guys going 100 miles an hour, they're not the most stable, so you can flip them pretty easily. For destruction, rocket launchers will destroy the vehicles depending on the health that you gave them. You can see the fire starting below it, and then it should explode in a moment. There it goes. And now this is a destroyed vehicle, you can't get in it. Now, I'm not an expert with all this stuff, but I'll try and help out in the comments, and I'm sure other people will chime in as well if you have a question or get stuck or something. Also, if you go on the Discord, there's a workshop channel that's great for this sort of thing.